The holiday season was supposed to be over. For most families, December 26th is a quiet day. Returns to stores, leftovers in the fridge, routines slowly restarting. But for one woman in Florida, it was the last day anyone would see her alive. According to investigators, the victim had been in contact with people close to her shortly after Christmas. Nothing in her messages suggested fear. Nothing hinted that she believed she was in danger. There were no goodbye texts, no sudden changes in behavior, just an ordinary day following an ordinary holiday. Then the communication stopped. At first, her absence didn't trigger alarm. Adults go quiet sometimes. Phones die, plans change. But as hours turned into a full day, concern began to grow. Calls went unanswered, messages unread. Family members and friends realized something wasn't right. Meanwhile, just miles away, tourists were enjoying Florida's Hollywood Beach, one of the state's most popular stretches of sand. Joggers passed by at sunrise. Families walked the boardwalk. Visitors posed for photos against the ocean backdrop, unaware that something unthinkable was about to be discovered. Late that day, beachgoers noticed something unusual near the shoreline. At first, some thought it was debris washed in by the tide. But as people moved closer, the reality became horrifying. A woman's body was found on the beach. Police arrived quickly, cordoning off the area as shocked tourists watched from a distance. Within hours, authorities confirmed the worst. The woman had been killed. This was not an accident. This was a homicide. As news spread, panic mixed with disbelief. How could a body be left on a public beach? After Christmas, in broad daylight, in a place filled with people. And most haunting of all, how did she get there? Hollywood Beach is not remote. It's busy, well-lit, and constantly monitored by patrols and cameras. That's what made this discovery so disturbing. Investigators immediately began working backward. They examined the condition of the body, the surrounding sand, and the tide patterns. Early findings suggested the body had not been in the water for long. This wasn't a case of someone washing ashore from far away. Authorities believed she had been placed there intentionally. An autopsy later revealed the woman had suffered fatal injuries consistent with violence. Police confirmed she had been killed elsewhere and dumped on the beach sometime after her death. The location raised troubling questions. Why choose such a public place? Was the suspect careless? Or did they believe no one would connect the dots in time? As detectives worked the scene, they also began identifying the victim. Once her name was released, the investigation escalated rapidly. Family members were notified. Missing person concerns suddenly became something far worse. Law enforcement canvassed nearby hotels, parking garages, and traffic cameras. They traced movements, reviewed surveillance footage, and analyzed cell phone data. Every minute mattered. Public fear grew quickly. Locals worried about safety. Tourists questioned whether they should stay. Social media filled with speculation, but police urged patience, emphasizing that spreading rumors could harm the investigation. Behind the scenes, detectives were closing in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Within days, authorities announced they had identified a suspect, a 28-year-old man who, investigators said, had been in contact with the victim shortly before her disappearance. According to police, evidence suggested the two had been together after Christmas. Where they went and what happened next would become central to the case. Detectives executed search warrants, collected physical evidence, and questioned witnesses. Slowly, a timeline began to form. Prosecutors later alleged that the victim had been assaulted and killed, then transported to Hollywood Beach in an attempt to conceal the crime. The suspect was arrested and charged with multiple serious offenses, including murder. Officials emphasized that the investigation was ongoing and that additional details would be presented in court. For the victim's family, the arrest brought no relief, only grief and unanswered questions. Why her? Why this way? Why leave her on a beach where strangers would find her? As the case gained national attention, one thing became clear. This was not just a Florida crime story. It was a reminder of how quickly normal life can turn into tragedy. As the legal process began, prosecutors laid out what they described as a disturbing sequence of events. They pointed to forensic evidence, digital records, and witness statements that placed the suspect with the victim during her final hours. The defense, meanwhile, prepared to challenge the state's case. In court, every detail would matter: timestamps, locations, and intent. The suspect remained mostly silent, offering no public explanation. For viewers following the case, the lack of answers only deepened the mystery. Unlike many crimes, there was no dramatic chase, no public confession, no immediate motive made clear, just evidence, and a body left where no one could ignore it. As the case continues through the justice system, the focus slowly shifts from how she died to who she was. Family members described the victim as someone who mattered, someone loved, someone whose life should not be reduced to the way it ended. Hollywood Beach returned to normal. Tourists came back. The sand was cleaned. But for those who know the story, the location will never feel the same. This case serves as a chilling reminder. Violence doesn't always happen in dark alleys or abandoned places. Sometimes it ends where thousands of people walk every day. And sometimes the most terrifying crimes are the ones that happen quietly until it's too late.